Dana White has finally shattered his silence.
There was nothing that made me happier than throwing that guy over to the fucking PFL.
And he did so on a live broadcast. There was no PR management, no filtered sound bites, just a raw clash regarding Francis Ngannou's departure and legacy. His words were fierce, and when that final comment hit the airwaves, the reply from Francis was unforeseen. Dana White confronts Francis Ngannou. This incident didn't take place behind the curtains or via a cautiously drafted statement. It unfolded in real time, with the cameras recording as millions watched on. Francis Ngannou, known as the Predator, the ex-UFC heavyweight champ, the individual possessing what is described as the single most powerful punch ever recorded. We are talking about a hit equivalent to 96 horsepower, like getting struck by a Ford Escort at top speed. This man sat for an interview on the Ariel Helwani show on December 10th. During that chat, Ariel pressed him on something Dana White had been claiming for weeks. You see, a few weeks prior, White appeared on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz. During that spot, he made some absolutely stunning charges. He claimed that Ngannou had physically confronted him, that Francis put hands on him, and that an incident at UFC HQ fundamentally changed how White viewed him forever. Now, when Helwani brought this to Francis, asking point blank if it happened, Francis gave a reply that was measured and calm, but also carried a specific weight and implication. Did you catch that? Francis Ngannou, without directly denying the claims, pointed to the fact that UFC headquarters has surveillance footage that could potentially clarify exactly what occurred. He isn't saying Dana is lying. He isn't saying Dana is telling the truth. He is saying, check the tapes. But Francis also made it abundantly clear that he has reached a stage in life where engaging in this back and forth simply doesn't interest him anymore. Now, this interview would have been major news on its own. A former champ addressing years of accusations from the most powerful man in MMA. That is headline material any day. But what followed is what truly sent shockwaves through the combat sports world. Because during this same interview, Ngannou revealed something that altered the entire discussion. He disclosed that his PFL contract was ending, that he would soon be a free agent, and most importantly, most provocatively, he expressed interest in fighting Jon Jones at the upcoming UFC White House event.
Yes. Oh, my dear. What do you...
Well, I think the best person to answer that question is Dana White. You have to ask him whenever you have the chance. You ask him.
think will happen?
When asked what he wanted most clearly, Francis was unequivocal. He wants two things: Jon Jones and Deontay Wilder. This was the spark that lit the fuse. This was the...
You know, I kind of like, at some point, feel very ignoring to just have to be responsible of what people say. Basically, like, if Dana say this, then I'm out here gonna basically defend myself of what Dana said or whomever. I think whatever he said, if he's in peace with, it's okay.
Bond he did, in the most specific Dana White fashion imaginable. But Dana wasn't finished. Not by a long shot.
Well, then he must be the only person that I ever put my hand on.
He proceeded to elaborate on the physical confrontation story, providing extra details that expanded on what he revealed on the Flagrant podcast.
I'm not inviting him to do anything. I'm not in court.
No, I know. But you know, Francis, he's on a podcast. He's saying, hey, this guy's a bad guy. He put his hand on me. He did all this stuff. This is not a good that paints a picture of an ugly scene. And so if someone said that about me, I would feel probably the need to defend myself. I didn't touch you. What are you talking about? You're trying to assassinate my character or something.
Weeks earlier, this time he named names and painted a vivid picture of exactly what allegedly transpired. And then came the moment. The alleged physical confrontation that Dana White claims fundamentally altered his perception of Francis Ngannou forever. Now, what makes this response so significant is not just the content of the allegations, but the philosophy White articulated alongside them.
As I said, over time, I just get tired of those stuff. I really saw that and scroll and move.
Okay.
I get past it. I wasn't even, I mean, I shouldn't be thinking that you're going to ask me that, obviously, but I'm long gone from that.
Francis Ngannou falls squarely into the latter category. But then Dana revealed something even more damning. He explained how he had initially been one of Ngannou's biggest supporters, how he believed in him when others wrote him off, and how he invested emotionally and professionally in his success. According to Dana, he tried to warn others within the organization about what he saw, but his warnings went unheeded. And here we are. When asked directly about any chance of working with Francis Ngannou again, Dana White's response was as definitive as it was dismissive. Then came the quote,
Yes.
Oh my dear. This is interesting stuff, Francis. What do you think's gonna happen?
that truly encapsulated Dana White's feelings about this entire situation. The quote that made headlines across the MMA world. The quote that demonstrated just how deeply personal this feud has become. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not the language of business disagreement. This is not the rhetoric of contract negotiations gone sour. This is pure unadulterated personal animosity. Dana White isn't just saying he doesn't want to work with Ngannou. He's saying he is glad to be rid of him. He is saying the PFL should feel sorry for themselves for taking him. The history, the future, and what it all means. To truly understand the magnitude of what we've witnessed these past few days, we need to zoom out and
Let me
examine.
tell you what, if we let guys go, feel bad for the fucking company that gets them. We let them go for a fucking reason.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't have to let anybody go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to be in business with guys that I don't like and that I don't think are good guys.
Examine the broader context of this feud, because this didn't happen in a vacuum. Ngannou countered by accusing the UFC of inflexible terms, using the ego narrative to deflect from their refusal to budge on boxing options or compensation. In May 2023,
Let me be clear on something too. When I say the physicality, it's not like Francis Ngannou came in here and like threatened us, you know, or did anything like that. But as men, everybody who is a man knows there's these situations with that, you know, we're in there and he's telling me that I deserve the 50,000. I want the 50,000. I said, you're not getting it. This guy fought whoever the fight was on the card, we had determined that they were going to get the 50,000. And I'm in there with them for however long we're talking, and I'm like, I'm done. And I had another meeting.
Ngannou signed with the PFL in a landmark deal, giving him equity and fighter advocacy rights. Terms Dana White mocked.
This guy just used to wander around UFC headquarters like this was his house. This guy literally spent the whole day here. Breakfast, lunch, fucking dinner, you know. So I started to walk out and he put his hand on my chest. And he says, we're not done talking yet. And I said, oh, we're fucking done talking. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like, you know, Francis Ngannou came in here and was like physically, but that's what went down.
Publicly. Throughout 2024 and into 2025, the war of words continued. At the UFC 308 press conference in October 2024, Lights declared, Francis isn't a good guy. He plays the good guy.
I tell you guys all the time, we're in the fucking fight business. Shit happens. And you don't have enough fucking time in your life for me to tell you all the stories that have happened behind the scenes and what goes on around here. And this is why I don't like telling them, you know?
Yeah.
And I truly believe that a lot of shit is man shit.
We'll never be in business together. We don't like each other. And now here we are in December 2025, watching the final chapter of this saga unfold in real time. But what does Francis Ngannou himself make of all this?
My whole thing with Francis is, I have this philosophy where when somebody shows you who they really are, believe them. And there was nobody more into Francis than me, okay? When I met this guy, I was like, holy shit, you are what a heavyweight champion looks like, all this shit. And I was all in on Francis. I mean, early on, I had Francis sitting behind me in the fucking Zuffa section, in my seats. And then we were in Boston and he showed me who he was.
And when Ariel questioned Francis about his current state of mind, how he managed to find peace.
I told the fucking boys, you know, he lost a couple and I said, I don't want to be in business with this guy. And two of my guys in the matchmaking department said, oh, you don't understand that. I said, okay, is this what you want to do? And they said, yeah. I said, I'm going to teach you a fucking lesson. When somebody shows you who they are, fucking believe them. You're both fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And I guess you're going to have to learn the hard way. And here we are.
Amid the chaos, Francis offered what would become one of the most revealing moments of the entire interview, reflecting on the past year.
So safe to say, no interest in bringing him back. No interest. You know?
I don't know how I can make it any more fucking clear.
He explained that the experience forced him to look inward and reevaluate his purpose in life. He spoke about a time when his only concerns were finding food to eat or a place to sleep.
There was nothing that made me happier than throwing that guy over to the fucking PFL.
Yet even after achieving stability, he admitted that happiness did not automatically follow. The realization, he said, led him to confront a deeper question. If having everything still doesn't bring fulfillment, this is a man who has clearly done the work, a man who has confronted his demons and emerged on the other side with a sense of clarity most of us can only aspire to achieve.
Wilder in boxing, John Jones in MMA.
Absolutely.
But make no mistake, Francis Ngannou has not lost his competitive fire. When asked about his future, about what fights he wants, he was crystal clear. The question now becomes, can either of those fights actually happen? With Dana White making it abundantly clear that Francis Ngannou is persona non grata in the UFC, the John Jones fight seems like a pipe dream. Unless of course,
Remember when you dream of all the things that you have now, the life that you have now, like what did it take exactly to be happy? You know, you should just go out there, oh, I want this, chasing that, chasing at the end of the day. Is that making you, is that the thing that's going to make you happy? Not necessarily, not if you skipping them and then move forward. You know, living the moment in full.
something dramatic changes, unless there is a scenario where the money becomes too significant to ignore. Unless public demand reaches a fever pitch that even Dana White cannot resist. Regarding a potential boxing match with Deontay Wilder, Francis stated that while there is mutual interest from both sides, no formal discussions have taken place and nothing concrete has materialized yet. So right now what we are left with is a situation that feels unresolved. A feud that has defined an era of heavyweight mixed martial arts. Two men who clearly have deep-seated issues with one another, yet who seem destined to remain locked in this conflict indefinitely. The public reaction on social media has been decidedly mixed. Some users have mocked Dana White's tough guy posturing, joking about the image of the UFC CEO standing up to the most powerful puncher in history. Others have echoed White's sentiments, calling Ngannou difficult and unlikable. But perhaps the most significant takeaway from all of this is what Francis himself articulated, a philosophy that transcends the petty squabbles of professional sports. This is a man who has walked through fire, literally and figuratively. A man who grew up in poverty in Cameroon, who made the treacherous journey across the Sahara and the Mediterranean to reach Europe, who lived homeless in Paris, and who rose to become the most feared heavyweight on the planet. And now, at this stage of his career, he has found something that perhaps matters more than any belt or payday: peace. Whether Dana White and Francis Ngannou will ever reconcile remains to be seen. Whether we'll ever witness that dream matchup between Ngannou and John Jones is uncertain at best. But what is clear is that this story is far from over. The chapters are still being written, and in the unpredictable world of combat sports, never say never. Because if there's one thing we've learned from watching this saga, it's that in the fight business, the most unexpected things have a way of happening when you least expect them. So now the question is this: was this confrontation the truth finally coming out, or just another power move disguised as honesty? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section, and for more videos like this, click on this next card on the screen.